Hello, good morning, my viewers. You're welcome once again to the program. And this week we want to. I'm sorry, my name is Bernard again, and I hope we all are having a very great week today. And so it's a beautiful day, and I must say, even though we're hearing drums of war between Russia and Ukraine, and the whole world is just saying what their views are about what is going on in the country. Of course, Nigerians are panicking, those that have children abroad studying in this troubled country at the moment, and lots of pressure going on all the time. And so, yeah, big time. Within all of this pressure, people are still trying to survive and earn a living and make sure that they continue to live well, and then we saw a trend yesterday when somebody was saying that no, Nigeria should not even bother think about commenting about what's happening because of the threat of retaliation for any nation or country that decides to take any action against Russia right now. Of course, do we have the capacity to say, can we issue a statement? I think yes, we can, but with caution, with some level of caution. But that's aside. Welcome back to Fighting Poverty, and fighting poverty is what we do all the time, and I like to do with you. The past 2 weeks on the review, we had a good time with Mr. Abia, the farmer and the businessman, who was telling us his experience about how he's been fighting poverty using agriculture. We saw the work that has been done, the fighting, the intense landscaping, the fish ponds, the profitability. We talked about all of those last week. You can check the previous videos to also get some benefits from some of the interesting things that he shared with us last week. And so this week we're talking about the Ikeja Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Agriculture, and also known as the Poverty Fighter Squad. And I'd like to tell you what we do and how we are fighting poverty. And so for me, really, I might not know you directly. I might never have seen you. I might never have talked to you before. But basically, is how are you fighting poverty? What is that thing that you have decided to do by not waiting for everybody, waiting for people to come and spoon feed you, waiting for the Nigerian government to create one scheme that you can get into, hoping that you will have one network that you can use for yourself? What is that big idea that you have? What is that thing that you think you can be a part of? What is that leverage? Of course, we know that there's a quadrant called the business quadrant, where you have the employed, the business people, the investors alike, and the unemployed. If you're unemployed, you can't generate anything. It doesn't mean that you're useless, but it means that you can have an idea on something that would give you resources, give you money to be able to do what you need to do per time. And which is very, very important, because that's what we all want to do in our lives, to be able to do what we want to do at the time we want to do it without stress, right? So, what are you engaging? Is the question. What are you engaging? What are you doing to be able to get out of poverty, to be able to live a life free of lack and want, to be able to live a life free of begging, of moving and calling people? You call this person today, you call them tomorrow, and so you call them multiple times. Soon they will stop answering your calls. But the question is, what have you decided to do? What actions have you decided to take? The goal for us at the Poverty Fighter Squad is that don't die poor. Don't die poor. If you do die poor, you have committed a sin against yourself and a sin against your unborn children. If they are born, you have committed a sin against them. Why would you die poor? Are you trying to say now that there is nothing within your environment that you can take advantage of? or you're waiting to be spoon-fed. You're waiting for somebody to just come carry money and share to you, like these politicians will do very soon, in a matter of months to come. Very soon you begin to see that even where development has not been to, politicians will go there, ballot boxes would get there just because it is time for them to come and renew their positions and renew whatever they need to renew in government so that they can continue to steal more money. Is that what your future is? Is that what you're looking for? A piece of bread that isn't worth anything, and then your family suffers for the next 4 years because of just one simple piece of bread. What would you prefer? That they give you that simple piece of bread, or they teach you how to bake the bread and give you access to resources to be able to own the bakery that bakes that bread, so that you can now produce the bread and your family will eat it for life, and you can now even take that bread to other places for people to consume and make a living? Which is much better? Giving insight, giving knowledge, giving practical skills that can change your situation for life. And so it's why we always try to preach. Being part of a system, having hard work is the way to go. There is no other way to go but this way to go, engaging in a system that works. And systems in Nigeria have been bastardized. We're well aware of that at the Poverty Fighters Squad and at the Ikeja Chamber of Commerce. And that is why most of the time we try to sensitize you that is watching right now to be able to try a system. Come to the Ikeja Chamber of Commerce, listen to what they do, and find out for yourself how valid it is, and know if it is a system that you can participate in. And by this, we're not saying go sell anything or go hawk anything, or you have to persuade people to be a part of the system by saying, no, convince by force, you have to do. No. It is simple value that we have put together in one place, analyzed it, checked the relevance of that value across Nigeria and across Africa and the world at large. And then we said to ourselves, what is that thing of value that people can begin to engage in that can get them out of poverty in no time? And what is that? It's agriculture. A lot of us just see agriculture as a dirty man's job. We see it as a poor man's business. But I stand to shock you today that even the US that you are planning of going to now, you that is watching this, even in US, the richest people there are farmers. Check, verify. You would see that the richest people there are farmers. So, the question now comes to mind, and this is the question that comes to mind. If the richest people are farmers in the United States of America, and here in Nigeria and Africa as a whole, we have more arable lands than them, then why is agriculture failing? Why are people not seeing agriculture as the lucrative business that it is? Why are people looking at agriculture as a dirty man's business? Why are people failing in the business of agriculture? I have this to say to that question, is people have not gotten the adequate level of training that it takes to be successful in agriculture. That's why they see agriculture as a dirty man's business. That's why they've not succeeded in agriculture. We took a training here one day, and somebody came and was like, he was walking on the street, and then he met a madman, and all the madman was just saying was that agric is the way, agric is the way, Agric is the way, Agric is the way. And he just stood and was watching the man. And so he walked up to his wife and said, honey, I think we need to do something in agriculture. Some man just walked up to me and was just singing, Agric is the way, Agric is the way, Agric is the way, agriculture is the way. And this man, because while he was growing up, his father was a farmer, felt, all the farming I was doing with my father, I should be able to. Now I'm a farmer, yes. He's been doing some subsistent farming with his parents while he was growing up. So he felt, I know the agricultural thing, I think I know it. And then went into agriculture. And the first thing he did was to own a plantain plantation. And then planted the plantains, gave the places out to people to do some agriculture in between all of this plantain so that to reduce the cost of maintaining the fields because of the grasses that are growing. So when you have your plantain, your plantation, you lease out spaces to people so that they can do some level of farming around the plantain, but not to affect the growth of the plantain though. So you just do some minor farming around it. You give them for free, so they automatically are already doing the labor of weeding the farm on your behalf. So that's the intelligence. So he did that, and then over time, he was maintaining it and managing it, and all of those. Then one day, for factors beyond his control, the whole place got flooded. And then he almost lost hope. And then he came and he said, I've tried so many things in agriculture and they failed. And we were like, sir, who did the survey? Now, what I said to him was, if you have tried so many things in agriculture and it has failed, it doesn't mean that agriculture is a failure. It means you have tried, but you failed. But for factors beyond your control was why you failed, not because you didn't do the right, because you didn't know how to go about the agriculture. You failed because maybe first you didn't involve an expert who would have seen that place could be flooded. And two, agriculture didn't fail you. Natural disaster did. If there was no cause for a natural disaster, I'm sure that your farm will still be existent till now. And then the question I put to him is that everybody is a farmer, but not everybody is a successful farmer. That's the question. Everybody is a farmer, but is everybody a successful farmer today? No. Some people are getting it right in the agribusiness sector because they've learned over time, over years, the steps to take and what to do. And some people have not. So you can imagine what experience can do for you in the agribusiness sector. So what we said to him was, good, this is it. You're going to have to get the right training. One, you cannot have agribusiness and you have it in, let's say you're in Abuja, you have your agribusiness in Nasarawa. It's a long distance. You can't be far away from your farm. How do you ensure its success? And this cuts across all businesses. You cannot have a business and be away from that business over a long period of time. How do you monitor its growth? How do you monitor its success? That's the big question. So, the importance of agriculture cannot be overemphasized because of this one singular reason. In Nigeria alone, we have over 200 million people who wake up every day and eat food. Statistics also shows that every day we give birth to 6,000 babies in Nigeria alone. 6,000. It sounds very large, but that is what we generate every day. 6,000 babies every day. So who would produce the food that we eat? Statistics also shows that the average age of farmers within Africa and Asia today that produce what we feed on across the world is 60 years old. That's the average age of the farmer that produces what we consume in the world as a whole. Now, in the next 10 years or to 15 years, by the time these farmers fizzle out, who will produce what we eat? And now the world population is projected to be about 50 billion by 2050. It will triple its current size. Now, who would produce what the world will be able to eat within that period? COVID-19 came, and then our fine clothes, our very nice shoes, our very beautiful cars could not go anywhere because we were scared for our lives. Nobody wanted to go out. Everybody locked their kids indoors because they want to survive. Life is beautiful, life is sweet. Nobody wanted to die from COVID. But in the first few weeks of the lockdown, people thought they could survive by just locking themselves indoors. But after the first few weeks, what do you think people were? We all remember what people were doing. All they wanted to do was just get food because every household, every home was running out of food. And if we paid attention so much at that time, we will notice that when the government decided to open the market at least twice in a week, and people go to the markets to buy food stuff. There was no COVID-19 protocol within the market. The 1 meter apart distance when it comes to crowded areas wasn't existent in the market. Everybody that was so conscious about COVID-19 and was so conscious about not dying left all their consciousness in their homes because they wanted to get what their children and themselves would eat. Now, if the government had decided to be so strict and said the markets will be locked up, nobody is able to go outside, what do we think will kill people more? Hunger would have killed more people before COVID-19 even got to them. People disregarded every single iota of COVID-19 rules. Some people were not even bothered about face masks. All they cared about was getting food. Even if the traders of those food had doubled the price times 3, people would have still bought them. And of course, we remember, those prices were higher than normal. The staple crops were higher: rice, gari, beans, oil, all of these staple crops. Way higher than what they should be, but people were still buying food. A few weeks ago, I checked on the cost for maize. Maize was around 19.5. Today, because of the demand and because of the scarcity of it, if you want to buy a bag of maize now, you're looking at about 25,000, getting to 30K. Soya beans is as high as 46K now. Something that at the harvest period was around 20,000, 25, even as low as 15,000 naira a bag. Today is 46,000 a bag because people must eat food. People must export food. Food is the one thing that is guaranteed for life. The only thing countries need most of the time is just a specification on what can get to their shores, just because they want to protect the health of their citizens. But they must still want food. We cannot overemphasize the importance of agriculture in our communities, in our homes, in our streets. The 3 basic needs of life is circled around agriculture: food, clothing, shelter. What can you not do with agriculture? It's a simple question I want us to think about.
agriculture is the mainstay of any nation's economy. Being able to provide food for a nation, being able to provide food for its citizens, has laid a solid foundation for its growth of the nation. Any nation who can provide shelter for its citizens has laid a very strong foundation for its citizens. Any nation who has been able to create income generation for its citizens has laid a very strong foundation for that, for its citizens. And so tell me, which nation that doesn't think about food for its citizens? And now it comes to mind and say, when we talk about food all the time, the big question in our minds is this: who produces that food? Who makes the food? How do we create wealth from food production? How do we create wealth from food security? Because even from the top to the bottom, from the president to the least person in the country, he or she must consume food. He or she must need shelter. He or she must need clothing. And all of these basic needs of life is centered around agriculture. So, I want to believe that you are beginning to see the light that I'm seeing within the agribusiness sector and the wonders that we can get from it. The great things that we can get from being in agriculture. The beautiful things, the awesome things that we can benefit from learning agriculture and participating in agriculture, whether as active participants or passive persons who are investing money in the development of agriculture and earning returns, as the case may be. Feeding people, ensuring that there is food. Look at an example when tomatoes was scarce, or when onions for that was scarce. That a bag of onions was going up for about 50,000 naira a bag. It skyrocketed like hell. When tomatoes, which is a major part of our food, our intake of food, went up. Who were the biggest benefitors? The farmers who had the tomatoes. The aggregators who had the tomatoes made money. The transporters who were transporting the tomatoes from one location to another made money. The value chain made money. So you might decide not to be even a direct producer, but you're within the value chain of agriculture. Maybe in logistics, maybe in storage. You create storage facilities for some of these agri products. For perishable products, you create cold rooms. For products like tomatoes, Irish potatoes, onions, all of these perishable goods that you cannot store over a large period of time. You have cold rooms, industrial cold rooms where 50 trucks, 100 trucks can store their tomatoes, and then there's tomatoes all year round, and then you have that system. Tell me that you will not make money. Because farmers of tomatoes will want to store their tomatoes over a long period of time, even for them to be able to understudy and keep it till when the price are even much higher, so that they can benefit on the profit end. Now, you're not doing the dirty job. You're just a piece of the value chain that distributes this food from one end to another, just by creating cold rooms. What about those storing commodities? You have storage units where people can come and store their goods over a long period of time, and every month they pay for using that space. You're already making money from just creating it. Some people have some kind of large space within their compounds and their homes, and it's just existing for nothing. And they've not seen that that space can be converted. You can create a temporary storage unit. It doesn't always have to be a permanent structure. It doesn't have to always be a permanent structure. A temporary storage unit can work. Some people, you can become a transporter of goods. A large percentage of the food production in Nigeria happens within the north. But there are human beings in the east, there are human beings in the west, there are human beings in the south that are going to need these products. The yam that we produce in Benue, that same yam, Igbo people eat it in the east, they eat it in the south. That yam will have to be transported from here to another place. So that's how much of wealth, that's how much of wealth that we can generate. That's how much wealth we can get from being a part of agriculture. It can't be overemphasized. The question is, are you doing it right? Have you gotten the right knowledge about what to do, what steps to take? This is the most important part of everything. Knowledge, knowledge, knowledge. It's not just by having all the money and just putting it up there and then you lose everything and you say agriculture is not so good, agriculture is difficult, agriculture is that. No. Have you been able to get the right skills that you need to make it work? Now, this is the singular question. And for me, I like to enjoin you. I like to motivate you. Invest in agriculture. Femi Adesina said, agriculture would produce the next millionaires and billionaires of the future. Africa needs to begin to see agriculture as a business and not just a way of life. Nobody smokes gas. Nobody drinks oil, but everybody eats food. So food is where we have a comparative advantage. And when I say comparative advantage, is where Africa has a comparative advantage. Because we have the land. It will surprise you to know that even China, the Chinese, are now coming to Africa to own arable land space where they can produce food. And those food that are produced here in Africa are exported back to their countries. Because their lands are not arable. It's time Africa wakes up and begin to see the advantages of what we're selling out. And we're just giving out all of these arable lands to them for free. In time shall come, we will be recolonized in Africa if we do not use our brains. They would use food and food production to recolonize us in Africa. Because we have failed to see the wealth that we have. The same failures our forefathers failed before, we continue to still fail because we fail to see the advantages of exploring the wonders of agriculture even within our space. And that's a very challenging issue. It's very, very challenging. And so on this note, I would like you to join me on the next episode of Poverty Fighters with Bernard, where I would now tell you about the system that we have created at the Ikeja Chamber of Commerce, also known as the Poverty Fighters Squad, on how you can engage in agriculture and use agriculture as a means to fight poverty and get yourself and your family out of poverty. I'd like you to make it a date with me on the next episode of the Poverty Fighter Squad with Bernard, and you will see firsthand what steps you need to take, what you need to do to be able to fight poverty to a standstill in your life and in the lives of members of your communities and your direct and immediate families. I'd like to say thank you for your time that you've shared with me on the program today, and I hope that you're motivated enough to know that agriculture is the way to go. Agriculture has no place of not making profit. you will continue to benefit, you will continue to enjoy, you will continue to feed your family, you will continue to have the three basic things of life. Agriculture does not relegate you to the rural area. It does not make you a poor man. Rather, it makes you the richest man in the world, because you are feeding people, you are producing what people would eat as a means of survival. So thank you very much, and see you at the next episode of Poverty Fighters with Bernard, where you get to hear what we have to offer you at the Ikeja Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Agriculture, also known as the Poverty Fighter Squad. So see you then, God bless you, and have a great week ahead. Bye.